All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for logging in. If you're watching the replay, we appreciate you folks watching the replay. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. I am still giving away a free ebook, the first book that I published back in 2010. I was speaking into the future. All right, we're going to get the ball rolling, folks. And I'll end up letting more folks in as we move forward. So, wow, episode 25. We are on episode 25. Folks, welcome to the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast, where we pride ourselves on sharing, informing, educating, and growing our growing community with actionable information that you can actually take out into the field, start applying. We share actionable content and resources that you can start experiencing results with. Quick disclaimer, remember, ladies and gentlemen, to do your own research. Any of my content, any and all of my content that is shared or anyone that I bring on this platform is intended to be used for informational and sometimes even entertainment purposes only. It is very important that you do your own due diligence before making any investment based on your own personal financial circumstances. You should always do your own research and verify anything that I say. I recommend that you consult with a licensed professional before moving forward with any investment. All right, so we have a lot to cover, folks, and a lot to talk about. There's a lot of noise in the marketplace, a heck of a lot of noise in the marketplace about the dreaded R word. Now, some folks, I just need to know who I'm talking to tonight. Uh, and even if you're catching a replay, I want you to comment under the video, but in the chat, if you were around real estate during the recession of 2008, put a yes in the chat. If this is your first time, seeking to get started in real estate, and you've never experienced a recession while investing, let me know as well. If this, put first time in the chat. So there's some seasoned folks that have been here before. Now, I'm going to touch on, we got a lot to cover tonight. I'm going to touch on 2007 and what was going on in my business. We got some first timers as well. Welcome. Also, I want to shout out, before we jump into recession talk, I want to shout out some Freedom and Wealth Seekers. Some of my academy, and one-on-one students are making it happen. Kwani Avondale, congratulations on launching your campaigns. You're doing a lot of things on social media. I'm looking forward to our one-on-one Zoom this evening to evaluate some of the properties that are in your pipeline. I also have to congratulate Jennifer Jordan. Jennifer, I'm working with one-on-one, and she challenged herself to put a deal under contract within I believe it was 30 days or 60 days. And she did that. This is a really big deal, has the potential to be an all-time record profit for any of my student partners. So I'm really excited for Jennifer in regards to her deal in Washington, D.C. Also, I want to shout out everybody that showed up tonight. You all Freedom and Wealth Seekers. We are building this community up together. I appreciate you subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate you sharing. content with me throughout the week. I'm actually going to share a members news story this evening. So, folks, I'm like I said, like I always say, I'm blessed and privileged to be here, and I'm looking forward to continuing to help you grow and growing this community of freedom and wealth seekers. So, going back to the recession of 2008, there were some, at the time, I had two business partners. One of my business partners was actually he was a what, economics major, economics major at economics and finance major at UMBC. Okay, older gentleman. I, I'm 26, 27 at the time. 2006, he was in school and he was studying economics and finance. And he was telling me, and my other partner at the time, that we need to brace for a recession. Now, being in my late, I, I would say late mid to late 20s, I'm very naive. I'm very greedy. I'm very excited, enthusiastic about real estate. I had started in real estate, rehabbing houses. I started rehabbing houses in 2004. So I caught the rehab bug early. In 06, he was trying to convince me to slow down because he saw something. I guess his professor in his class was talking about it, but he was also an older gentleman and he had lived through a recession. When he had lived through maybe his first recession or second, I was just graduating high school in 2000. So there were things that I had not yet experienced. All right. There were things that I had not yet experienced and was very naive. And I was having uber success while in school, making six figures, flipping houses. And I ignored all of the early signs. All of the early signs I had ignored. All right. One of the signs that he talked about was the ability to gain credit, okay, easily access other people's money. Now, it's great if you know how to leverage other people's money in real estate, but there's something, and you may want to write this down, called being over leveraged. All right, being over leveraged. And you can be over leveraged as a consumer and as an investor. All right. And I've been both places. Some of you may be able to relate to that. So 2006, we're rocking and rolling. We're rehabbing multiple houses. We're making high six figures. All right. Rolling in 2007. And the economy starts to shift. All right. And what I mean by the economy starting to shift, you start seeing lending beginning to tighten up. Credit lines begin to actually get canceled, and it's harder to get credit lines, business lines of credit at that time, and you start to see people losing their jobs. All right, this happened. This is what I recall from 2007, and I can only speak to my marketplace, right? Because I was only investing in my marketplace. I can't say it was happening all over the country, but facts tell us that it was. This was happening early on. There were signs. Okay. One of the other things that I remember back then was that gas prices started to go up, right? Gas prices started hiking up. If you look, and the biggest news was yesterday, the Fed increased the interest rate, which is going to affect, it's already affected the housing market. I had a conversation with my real estate agent today about one of my listings. And this is how the text went early this morning. He didn't talk about the interest rate in the beginning of the text. He said, 2 doors down from your house, they just dropped the price $10,000. Of course, I know why. Okay, this is another home on the same block as one of my properties because of the interest rate hike. Okay, what you could spend a month ago, as far as when you're buying a home, you're not going to be able to spend a day and expect the same type of payment, mortgage payment, right? So it's affecting the housing market. Homes are starting to sit. So I'm doing deals in other cities, and I'm talking to real estate investors, and I'm talking to real estate agents, and they're saying, everybody's saying the same thing. The real estate market is slowing down. All right, this is 2022. Remember, I lived through and survived and even thrived along with my student partners in the 2007, 2008 recession, right? Which kind of led into the housing crash. Now, I'm going to make a prediction. I don't have a crystal ball in front of me. I cannot say this is going to be 100% accurate, but if the economy is behaving any way it was behaving back in 2007, there's a chance we could experience a housing crash. There's a chance, and I believe there's a strong chance. One thing that is different from 2007 to 2022 is that the interest rate, the mortgage rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage is higher than it's ever been since I've been investing in real estate. Is this a bad thing? Absolutely not. Because I know how to invest. I don't just, I'm not a one trick pony. None of my student partners or academy members learn how to just flip houses and that's it. No, we teach you how to buy tax lien properties. We teach you how to buy and hold. We teach you how to become a real estate professional. Okay. We teach you how to wholesale in any market. All right. Folks that are one trick ponies that are just doing one thing in the world of real estate, if you're not diversifying the other niches, or if you're not diversified in some of the other niches, you're going to have problems. All right. You're going to have problems. So going back to 2007, that partner that told me to slow down on acquisition of rehabs. I wanted to rehab everything. I was just a rehab junkie. All right. He ended up taking a buyout. He wanted to leave. He wanted to break the partnership we had because he saw where things were going in the economy and I did not see them. So we bought his percentage out and he predicted it perfectly. He said, the market's about to crash. Y'all are going to get stuck with houses that you're not going to be able to do anything with. And sure enough, it happened in 2008, rolling into 2009. All right. Now, around this time, 2007 is when I started mentoring people. Remember, I started investing in myself in real estate in 2002. I didn't start teaching the business until 2007. So my students that were enrolled with me from 2007 watched me go through the hardship. Okay, I'm dedicated to teaching, so I'm not going to just stop teaching because I'm going through something financially. I'm going to continue to teach. So they were able to learn all of the mistakes. I told you all to write down the words over leveraged. So none of my students put themselves in a position where they will ever be over leveraged. They understand how to invest because they're using the blueprint that I shared with them in 2008, 2009, because I had to wake up and smell the coffee and said, I made a mistake. I became over leveraged. All right. I over leveraged banks and I ended up losing over $1 million in cash and real estate value. Okay. So I lost $1 million during the last recession. Now, am I going to lose $1 million in this recession? Absolutely not, because I'm not over leveraged. But there are a lot of people out here that are, and I'm starting to see the signs. For the folks that are experienced, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, we talked about like some of the economic indicators, gas prices going up, rents going up. That's always going to happen. Food prices going up, right? That's something new, right? I don't remember that in 07, 08. Food prices going up. All right. Interest rates going up. And the worst thing is job loss. People are losing jobs and people aren't able to get jobs. So I'm gonna piggyback on those topics in a few. But I want you to know what to look for. So this isn't gonna be a big surprise, right? This isn't gonna be a big surprise if we go into a housing crash. So what I've noticed, because I'm always in phase one for me is I'm always recruiting new contractors and I'm always prospecting. I'm looking for my next deal. So I like to cruise for profits. I drive neighborhoods all the time throughout my leisure, throughout my day. If I see some high grass, I'm gonna take down the address. So this is what I've been seeing lately, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And I say boys and girls for the TikTok kids watching. Um, I'm noticing really nice homes renovated with high grass, right? They're vacant, right? These are homes that are vacant. Now, the news isn't talking about these properties yet. All right. And maybe it's just my luck. I mean, I can't say I've gone through every neighborhood and I've noticed these properties, but these renovated vacant homes have been purchased in the last 3 years. Okay. So 2019 to now, right? And the homeowner and their homeowners, they're not LLCs that own these properties. So what does this mean to me? Remember, I always talk from my lens. Well, in 2009, my business model changed. And my business model was to focus on purchasing properties in foreclosure. Most of my deals that I closed during the recession between 2009 and 2011 were foreclosed homes or properties going into foreclosure. All right. So this is an indicator, I think, that people that recently bought when interest rates were really low, and something is happening. Maybe they lost their jobs. I don't know, but I've come across a handful of properties that are vacant. They do not have any equity in them, okay, that have new mortgages on the property. They were recently purchased within the last 3 years. Now, this is the thing. Foreclosures, write this down, will eventually drive home prices down. So you got a couple of things that drive home prices down. You have the interest rate, but then you have foreclosures. What foreclosures create is more inventory. Right now, there's not a lot of inventory. So where do you get this inventory? People end up losing their homes. Again, this is through my lens and my experience over the last almost 20 years now, right? So I believe I know what I'm talking about because I've been here and I've done these types of deals, right? So I just want to make everybody aware of what's going on. Okay. Is it a time to panic? Absolutely not. This is a time to invest in yourselves, add value to yourselves, learn as much as you can, as much as you can, and wait for great opportunities in the market because there are going to be some amazing opportunities that are going to come through the real estate market over the next 2 to 3 years. Amazing opportunities. I was at a cafe today and I was just talking to a gentleman who's also in real estate. And he was telling me about some of the opportunities he's been fortunate enough to take advantage of in a high, in at the height of the market. So there are always opportunities. You just have to have the know-how to get to get these properties, to take advantage of these opportunities. You have to have the information. All right. I want to share some of these news stories, and some of you may notice, may recognize some of these stories. Some of them are nationwide, some are local. So one of our freedom and wealth seekers uh, sent us a story out of Chicago, and I'm going to share it with you all. But I'm seeing stories like this pop up all over the country. And this one went viral. This story actually went viral. It was on I think it was on like Shade Room. So this is a story. A Chicago woman says a stranger moved into her vacant Chatham home. She refuses to leave. A Chicago woman says she listed her Chatham home for sale, but shortly after, a stranger moved in, refusing to leave. Danielle Cruz says she was proud when she bought this home and even prouder after renovating it. So this is a investor, right? She was excited to sell it, but a stranger moved right in. Now, has this ever happened to me? No. Some of you know about, one of my former student partners, alumni, Jamal Gardner. I recently shared a story. Somebody had moved into one of his houses. He was lucky enough to get them out. If this ever happened to me, um, especially a house that I recently renovated, oh, I would be so angry. But what I would do, I would have my contractor go there and take off the front doors, the front door and the back door. I would take all the doors off the property. And if they put in two new doors up, then I guess I'm gonna have to go through the court system. But I haven't seen a law in place in my market where I can't take doors off of a property when there's someone that moved in that doesn't have a lease on the property. So that's what I would do. But this is absolute nightmare. I actually watched the video. This investor is absolutely devastated. Now, the bad thing about this is happening right now as interest rates are going up. So she is most likely paying some type of mortgage on this property. Her goal most likely was to sell this property or rent it out. She's not able to do that, and she may end up losing the property, depending on the laws in Chicago, Illinois. Now, I'm seeing this happen all over the country. I'm hearing about people with Airbnbs, the people that are Airbnb clients, they're not moving out, they're staying in, they're squatting. This could be really, really ugly. So it is very important. I don't know if she has security on her property or she secured her property during the renovation, but this is turned into a nightmare for somebody. And this what comes along with rehabbing houses, okay? This is what comes along with investing in real estate. Now here's another story. Real estate companies are laying off folks as the housing market slows. And these are big companies, Compass and Redfin. Okay, there's a video here. I won't play that due to time constraints, but real estate firms Redfin and Compass are laying off workers as mortgage rates rise sharply and home sales drop. In filings with the SEC, Compass announced a 10% cut to its workforce, and Redfin announced an 8% cut. Now I'm going to come back to that. Here's another story. Now I like this story. Parents are buying homes for kids priced out of the housing market. I've always told my members to leave property or put their children in position to own property, whether it's rental property or their own home. This is a great idea. I have friends that send their kids to college. They say, Marcel, you think it's a good idea to let them stay on campus the whole time, or should we buy a property? I always say, find a property that they can live in and rent out. This is an article. Several publications have been sharing the story. Even as even as U.S. real estate market shows signs of cooling, inflation and higher interest rates are making it difficult for young house hunters to buy properties, at least on their own. Parents are increasingly helping their adult children purchase homes, whether that means co-signing a mortgage or giving money for a down payment or buying the property outright, according to real estate agents across the country. Now, my first experience with this, I had a family member who co-signed on a mortgage for another family member. That family member was able to eventually leverage that property, create cash flow from that property, and also sell that property for a nice profit to buy his and his family's dream home. Okay, so I've seen this work. People have been doing this for years. This is nothing new under the sun, and I recommend anyone that is in a position to help their children or grandchildren purchase their first home, do it, especially depending on where the home is located. Because folks, real estate prices, they don't stay down forever. Like we're seeing a little dip right now. Stats aren't out to how far the dip has gone, but as we all know, real estate continues to appreciate. And at some point, it could become out of reach for most people. Some point it can become out of reach for most people. What I want to do now, I'm just going to go right to YouTube. So folks, if you are tuning in for the first time, somebody's unmuted here. I don't know how. Hold on one second, folks. Somebody unmuted. I don't know how that happened, but cool. So if you haven't already, if this is your first time watching this podcast, make sure you visit our YouTube channel, REI Inner Circle, and subscribe. You can catch up to the first couple of episodes of this podcast. We have content here dating all the way back 12 years ago. So you can see that this isn't something new. I didn't just start producing content. I did leave YouTube in 2012, but you can pretty much see the journey. You can see some stories of some of my former students, but stay connected to this YouTube channel because the goal over the next 12 months is to produce 500 to 1,500 new videos on our YouTube channel and really grow our subscriber base. Our goal is to hit 100,000 subscribers. So a lot of you that have been here since we launched Freedom and Wealth Seekers, you are our founding community members, okay? At the end of this month, some of you will become our founding members of our academy. And our academy is where you're going to learn. I'm going to teach you more about local government foreclosures, wholesaling houses, rehabbing houses, buying and holding property to build monthly cash flow and long-term wealth appreciation. That is going to happen at the end of this month, and some of you are going to be the founding members of that academy. So I'm excited about that. Direct Mail Wednesday is each and every Wednesday. We have a special segment during our podcast where I critique direct mail. And don't forget, our new segment is our Freedom and Wealth Seekers lesson of the week. So I'm excited about that. It's kind of like a show and tell. I'm super excited about what I have to share with you in regards to the lesson for today. And our lesson, we keep it really on one accord. Our first lesson was attracting and finding motivated sellers. I said I need more than 30 minutes to talk about attracting and finding motivated sellers, and we're already going over, and there's several different ways. I'm going to share with you a way today that has worked since I've been in the business. However, there's some things that you need to know about that. But before we do that, I received this amazing postcard about one of my properties in Baltimore. Somebody wants to buy it, and it's actually a postcard that I've used in the past. That works. That really works. This is the style of this postcard. A lot of you may not. This doesn't look like anything I've really ever shared on the podcast, but this is a direct response postcard. There's really only one thing that I would change on this postcard because this same postcard I've purchased and sold properties with. Okay, all of our Freedom and Wealth Academy members, you'll have access to all of the templates that I've used over the years. And I'll also have a library of templates that I've collected that you'll be able to download or copy from inside the Academy. So this postcard, the first thing it says is urgent notice, right? That catches your attention on the front of the postcard. And then it says, I have cash. So they're telling us what they have, but I can only buy one more property. Okay, so that's scarcity. All right, I'm interested in buying yours. Would you like to see if this could work for you? So they ask a question. I say yes or no, either yes or no, right? Then they list benefits. They say no fees. The benefits are here. They have bullet points. No commission, no title insurance, no escrow fees. Typical fees that you have to pay when selling a home. Then they have their mailing address. So this is a company out of Detroit, Michigan, right? So that tells me, what does that tell me? It tells me, yeah, my property, my city must be really hot. Somebody all the way from Detroit, where they sell houses for $1, where literally you could buy a house for 3,000-4,000. It tells me that Baltimore has value. All right, which I already knew. I already knew that. Now it's addressed to one of my LLCs. Then on the back, it says cash for your property. Are you ready for some cash? If yes, and they circle it, this is beautiful, direct response. I will buy your property as is for cash. Call to find out how you can turn that property now. Pain or burden. I love that. Those two words, pain or burden, into one large sum of cash. Because ladies and gentlemen, you have to know, like, real estate can become a pain, and you know what, can become a burden. Some people inherit properties and it becomes a burden. They weren't expecting that. Okay. There's nothing wrong with anything written on this postcard except one thing, and that's the phone number. The phone number is something I don't recognize. And because I don't recognize it, I may not trust it. If I'm just someone that got into real estate or have never sold a home or inherited a home, if it's not like the little things, like we trust, like if it's a 1-800 number, okay, we know it's a toll free, or 188 number, and we know that's a toll free number. If it's a local area code, there's a sense of comfortability, right? When there's an area code that we don't understand, and I'm big on like the weirdest stuff, right? So look at this. The area code is 586, and then the first three numbers are 666. Like, who am I calling here, right? I'm just wired differently. It's like I believe in omens and stuff. Like, that's not an attractive number. I like 777, but not 666. So that's the only thing. And then it's in red. Like, that's the only thing, like, that I would change. It's an excellent postcard. I've bought a lot of properties. My students have bought a lot of properties with this template, but it's just a phone number for me. All right. They don't give you any other options, which is fine. It's a postcard. If it's a letter, you want to have more than one way of reaching for the prospect to reach you. But all in all, this is a great postcard, and It doesn't say who it's from, which is fine. They didn't put, that's the other thing, they didn't put their business name. So we live in an internet world. They do have an address, but they don't have a business name at the top. So I don't know who I'm calling. So those are like the two things that I would change. All right. But let's see if I get any more of those. I just received that recently. So the lesson for today, right, is it answers a question. And one of the questions that I usually get is, Marcel, what's one of the best ways to find deals? And my question is pretty much always the same. It's really not what's the best way, it's how consistent you are going to be in your pursuit to finding your first deal. Like you have to be 100% committed, 120% committed. You got to go all in. You got to eat, sleep, breathe this business. And what I mean by that is committed to learning the business and committed to applying it on a consistent basis. So one of the best ways is using bandit sign marketing. Bandit sign marketing, especially if you own your own properties. Put a bandit sign in front of your property, okay? Now, there are different laws all over the country about the use of these big old signs, but you need to learn the laws in your market, all right? Now, in my market, where do I put my signs? I put them on my properties, okay? I put them on vacant properties. I put them on at major intersections, depending on where it is. Some parts of my marketplace, I can get fined up to $200 per sign. So I have to be very strategic where I place my properties and make sure that it's not on any city-owned property, county-owned property, but you have to learn the laws on where you can place these signs. And when I started putting those signs out in 2005, there were no laws in place. I never got fined, okay? But as time goes on, cities and counties evolve and they find, oh, we can charge people now for putting out those signs. They absolutely work, okay? These signs work, all right? They're called bandit signs. Where do you get bandit signs from? Let me share with you where I get all of my bandit signs from, all right? There is a site called Dirt Cheap Signs. They have been around for a very long time, and they offer other services, but this is where I go, okay? I love it. They have great customer service. They're not the cheapest people in town, but they get the job done. They absolutely get the job done. Once you become a client, you get a login, you're able to track all of your orders. It's just, I love organization, and this is one of the best places to go. This is one of the best places to go, dirtcheapsigns.com. What I find over the years, what I found is that when it's political season, their prices are a little higher than off season, and it also takes them a little longer to send your bandit signs to you. Maybe 3 or 4 days longer. But that's who I've been using. I've been using Dirt Cheap Signs for many years. I discovered them in like 2009. All right, so they've been around. Let's see. So we covered a lot, folks. I had 6 things written down, and we only went over 9 minutes. I love it. Folks, I'm going to get this episode edited. It's going to be put on YouTube. I'm going to email it out. I'm going to text it out. And we're going to keep the ball rolling, folks. Looking forward to talking to you next Wednesday. All of our freedom and wealth seekers, continue to take massive action. And I look forward to seeing you at the closing table soon. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.